$267 million prime contract that was issued to Century, a certified Hispanic-owned firm in the Bronx. And with this contract, second largest contract in the history of the state's program, which, as we all know, was started and created by former Governor Mario Cuomo in July of 1988. And so with this single contract, we have the opportunity to diversify our core business. I'm here with Stephen. Stephen is the CEO of Century. And what's ironic about his company is that it's located in the Bronx. The Bronx is the third poorest county in the country. And so to take taxpayers' funds and award a major contract like this one, it is a job creation element in this program. So Stephen, give us a quick history of who you are, where you grew up, how you got started, and where you are now.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure being here today. It's an honor. As you said, Century Management Solutions, we're a minority-owned business. I'm Stephen Rivera. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Century. And I'm a Hispanic Puerto Rican from the Bronx who, born and raised. And when I had the opportunity to create Century Management Solutions, it just felt right to make sure that we were in the Bronx so that we could give back to the community where I grew up at. My little background on myself, I had a chance to from high school, went to high school in the Bronx, of course, had a chance to do an internship when I was 17 years old with Congressman Rangel, which, I was aspiring to become a politician. So, I always thought I was going to be in Albany sometime, but I'm here today.
Well, you made it.
Yeah, I made it today, right? But, I had a chance to do that, got to learn a lot about, the community and what the community needed. And instead, I got into healthcare. And I was in healthcare for many years with Health First and Health Plus as a vice president there. Had a chance to really engage with the community, and I saw that there was an opportunity around providing better transportation. And that's when we decided with my other co-founders, Stella Mateo and Angela Prats, who are also Hispanic women, who were in the industry for many years. We decided to come together with my experience with the medical transportation to create Century Management Solutions, which allowed us to, go after the MTA contract for the paratransit.
Yes. So the MTA, as you know, is the largest transportation network in North America. We have 70,000 employees. We service 5,000 square miles, 12 counties, and we are mandated by our funder, the FTA, that's the Federal Transportation Administration, to provide transportation services to everyone.
Yes.
And so this major contract, can you just briefly tell us what is the core business of this major contract that you guys have recently won?
Absolutely. Well, as everybody knows, MTA has gone above and beyond to make sure that the community, especially around the disabled and seniors, have the ability to get, around the city of New York. If you're disabled, elderly, maybe a little bit difficult for you to take the train or the city buses. So they allow for an opportunity to do paratransit to provide vehicles that are able to take them to and from their destination. It's a great program. It's something that's really necessary. Coming from the healthcare field, we come across a lot of the seniors and the disabled, and we provide them with transportation to and from their doctor's office. But this is an expansion of that because now they're allowed to use MTA, the paratransit, to be able to go visit a loved one, to do shopping, to pick up their medicine at the pharmacy. It just allows them to get access to the community, which in turn helps them with their social determinants to be able to know that they could get out and have access.
So I would tell the audience a secret of what happened and how this happened. Century had submitted their MWBE certification application.
Yes.
When we went out with an RFP, we were told that there was no firms in the marketplace. And so the board members started questioning about how many MWBE firms were in the marketplace. And the response that came from one of the agencies was, it was zero. But they did not say that there was a pending firm. And so with that being said, when the contracts came to the board to be awarded, the question was asked, and the response was zero. The contracts were awarded. Your firm was certified by ESD the very next day.
Yes.
And one of our board members did a review. And the review came up that said that had we known that your firm was pending, we would have reached out to ESD, our valuable partners, and we would have fast-tracked the certification review process. And so a MTA board member said that, well, we're going to cancel this contract. And so he was told that there would be lawsuits. He said, I don't care. He said, the governor has a 30% goal. These are very, very sizable contracts. There is no MWB inclusion in these contracts, and we're going to cancel the contracts. And as a matter of fact, Mike Garner and his team are going to vote on these contracts. And so we canceled the contracts. We reissued the RFP. Your firm responded, and guess what happened? Your firm was one of the ones who we awarded a contract to.
Correct.
Now that's taken ESD's and the governor's MWBE focus very seriously to issue contracts, cancel a major contract or 4 major contracts, and reissue the RFP. And that's the way that the MTA is taking the governors, ESDs, our great friend who is running ESD right now, with the ability to cancel contracts and reissue them to make sure that they are, in fact, inclusive. And so what does this mean for your company from a job creation perspective in the 3rd poorest county in the country?
You know, Michael, just to kind of touch on what you said, you know, probably in the 28 years of my career in healthcare, I never felt more impacted with what occurred with us because, you know, we were one of the finalists, we were overlooked, and, you know, we felt that we qualified. So we give a lot of thanks to the board for being able to review and seeing that there was an opportunity for us. And thus far, we already started doing work, and, you know, we've been providing and showing that we could do the job correctly. But this opportunity allows us to, you know, really expand and bring more jobs into the community. You know, just because we won this large contract, we're not looking to move out of the Bronx, you know. We still love our office. It keeps us close. Still, the Bronx is my home. And, you know, it's going to give us an opportunity to really expand and open up more jobs in the community.
And so now with this major contract at the MTA, that gives you the ability to work for other agencies, city agencies and state agencies as well. And the opportunities that's going to be afforded to you, you indicated that it gave you an opportunity where there was no opportunity.
Correct.
And so kudos need to be given to not only the MTA board, but it needs to be given to ESD.
Yes.
And also to the governor of the Great Empire State for affording a firm like yours the opportunity to work for the largest transportation network in North America.
Absolutely.
And your partners, can you give me a background on who your partners are?
Absolutely. Stella Mateo, who's been in the industry for a very long time, and Angela Prats as well. They've been in the livery business for over 20 years now. So they understand the taxi industry. But, you know, it was them that kind of, surprisingly, I coming from the healthcare industry and being an executive in the healthcare, we never knew that there was, you know, programs such as the certification of minority-owned businesses. You know, and I could tell you, and I'm shameful to say that we never practiced, you know, looking for certified businesses from the healthcare side. So when I was introduced that there is a certification out there for our company, I was in shock. And, you know, we went through the process. We went through the New York City certification first, then went through to the state. And I have to say, it was both these women who understood, you know, they understood politics, they understood business, gave me the guidance to understand that we could apply and qualify for as a minority-owned business.
Right. Yeah. And we once again got to thank our partners at ESD who expedited your certification process.
It was a great learning process with ESD. They did a great job guiding us with what we had to provide. Every step of the way, if you required a document, they sent out an email immediately, hey, please provide this. And, it was a great learning process for me. But, as you said, we got awarded. The certification is probably the best certificate I ever received in my life. Forget, a diploma or a college degree. Receiving that certificate really meant a lot, not just for myself or my partners, but to the company and the employees, because they benefit from it. Because this allows us to go out and bring in more contracts, which allows us to, promote staff from within and hire more staff within the 5 boroughs. Not just, the Bronx, because, we actually bring in as many different ethnicities into our group as well. So, it gives opportunity for everybody.
Definitely. And how many drivers are you currently employing?
So right now we have a little bit over 20,000 drivers that work through our program. We've dedicated thus far close to 400 drivers right now to the MTA program, but definitely we're going to be growing that as we grow with the paratransit MTA program.
And it's my understanding also that your company once again is based in one of the most impoverished areas in the country. So to be able to take a taxpayer-driven contract awarded to you gives you the opportunity to hire those residents who live near you. And as a matter of fact, there's a NYCHA development somewhere around your...
Actually, we service, there's about 9 developments right in front of our office. There's no shame to say where we're at. We're on Webster Avenue in the Bronx. Most companies, when they've come visit, they were surprised that our office was based out of there. But, that's where we chose to be. We wanted to, give back to our community. And like I said, I'm a Bronx boy for life,
So what advice and encouragement would you give other MWBEs who are trying to penetrate government contracting? Any advice that you would give them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is don't give up. One thing that we learned is, as much as we thought, we were great contenders, you really have to step it up even a notch higher, because, you're dealing with people or companies that have been doing this for a very long time, who have a lot more money than your own organization. And, you got to just show that, you got to prove it, and you have to really step up, because there's one key thing that we learned is that this is, us winning allows now another minority women-owned business to really say, hey, you know what? If they could do it, we could do it. And hopefully we're an encouragement. Hopefully we get this message out there. Listen, it's one thing you can't stop. You got to strive hard, and you got to prove to everybody that you could do the job. So it's not giving up. It's something that I guess we're learned and taught throughout our years, and we're instructed. So it's no different. It's no different.
So the scope of your contract is to afford safe transportation services to the senior citizens and other disabled passengers to their workplaces, and also their medical appointments and their grocery appointments and what have you. And so with your $267 million contract, you also was responsible for subcontracting out 15% of that to another certified firm.
Correct.
And that firm is who?
And so we have other. So because we meet the minority component, our focus is to give women-owned certified businesses the opportunity to receive the other 15%. Yes. So we have Barona's Luxury Car Service. We have Areas and Reno Car Service. Mm-hmm. These are women-owned businesses. So, and I guess this is something very important to note. There's not enough women-owned businesses within this industry for the transportation. So, we're doing our best actually getting the message out and encouraging other transportation bases that may be women-owned to go and apply for their certification.
Great, great. And have you had the opportunity to speak to Congressman Charlie Rangel to say that when you worked for him as an intern, now his guidance have allowed you to flourish, grow, and develop?
No, I had a chance to see Mr. Congressman Rangel about maybe 3-4 years ago, and I did have an opportunity to tell him that, and I learned a lot. One of the things I learned from him was that he was a fighter, and I learned a lot that year working at his office is that you have to be a fighter, and to this day I'm still a fighter. So yeah.
That's great. So I will see him in a very, very short period of time, and I will probably put you guys together.
Yeah, oh, that'd be great.
He would chuckle at your success, at your success. So in moving forward, are there any more industries that you're thinking about getting into? Because I met one of your partners, the CEO, the firm was from Minnesota, and you were doing other types of operations as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm heavily involved in different projects, and there's another project that I'm working on right now from the healthcare side of the industry to provide service to, again, seniors and disabled to be able to access their non-prescription drugs and food, which is a benefit that the health plans are giving. And what we're trying to do is also incorporate that with a delivery service with transportation.
And that would save seniors from leaving their residence, going out in the wintertime,
Correct.
trying to secure their medicines.
The medicines, correct.
Wow, that's great. That's great. That's great. And you also are associated with a great restaurant in the Bronx, and I want to give that restaurant a shout out. It's called Zona de Cuba.
Yes.
It's on 149th and the Grand Concourse.
That is correct.
It's a revolutionary concept because you guys had created a Cuban-style restaurant on the rooftop of the post office. Can you just talk about that for a second?
My partner on that, Fernando Mateo, is just funny to say. He transported Florida to New York, basically. So once you're up on that elevator and the elevator doors open, you definitely feel like you traveled to another destination. So you're no longer in the Bronx. There's palm trees, there's great music, great food. It's a great environment. So if anybody's ever in the Bronx, please visit Zona de Cuba.
And it's a great experience. I've been there, and the food is absolutely fantastic. And people from all over the country, they fly in just to patronize the restaurant because of the quality.
Correct. Absolutely.
The quality and great salsa music as well.
Yes, there is.
Great salsa music as well. And so you're a prominent Hispanic businessman. There's a focus now. We talk about something beyond the MWBE program. Michael Clay, who's at DASNY, and other individuals, we meet every week on calls because we're starting to talk about the disparity within the disparity. And so we're starting to focus on what we can do in order to develop and grow more Black and Hispanic-owned businesses. Can you just speak to some of the focuses that we should focus on when affording those two segments?
Absolutely. As I said, I think there has to be more education, more announcements in regards to what the opportunity is, and there are more forums. I think business owners, we get caught up in the everyday. I gotta manage my staff, I gotta manage the business, where they don't look for the other opportunities. So if there's any other avenues in which more of the local politicians get more information out to their constituents, to their business owners, I think that would be something very, very helpful for local business people.
So those of us who are advocates and practitioners, if you had to rank 3 or 4 initiatives that we should be focusing on, in addition to training and making you aware of the opportunities, what would those 2 or 3 other items be?
All right. Wow, that's a great question.
Capital, access to capital.
Listen, one thing we've learned: without money, you can't grow, right? So definitely having a better understanding of what's out there in regards to grants and opportunities for small business owners. I think a lot of the business owners really didn't have the opportunity or understand how to take advantage of the current crisis during COVID. You know, I have to say I was very lucky because I'm very engaged with you know, my emails and I monitor everything that comes through. So, you know, whatever information gets out there, that's great. But yeah, I think capital is one thing that definitely helps any small business, you know, grow and be able to bring on stuff that they need.
And then access to the agencies and the key decision makers as well?
Absolutely. You know, like I said, you know, I didn't know much of the environment. I had to, you know, research one of our executives, one of our chief strategy officer. He did all the digging. Max Zinner, who's here with me today. You know, he did a lot of the research to pull up, you know, to find out exactly what we needed to do, how we had to do it, what was the opportunities out there. That's how we came across the MTA. As we started looking at other opportunities, you know, there's the ACS contract that's out there too. We applied for the RFP. So, you know, listen, you got to do a lot of digging, you know. It's not that ready available, but, you know, right now it's good. There's one thing, when you go to the website, you can actually pull up, but, you know, it's about people knowing where to look when you go into the website, so yeah.
And then there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm because we are in the era of transition. And so the era of transition in the city of New York, we have a new mayor coming in who's going to be focused on the MWBE. We currently have a new governor that's came in, and she was here last night. And she has a great focus on certified MWBEs because both of them understand that access to contracts equals job creation in those communities that have too far been simply ignored. And so there's great enthusiasm on the inside, so I'm quite sure there's a lot of enthusiasm on the outside as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Eric Adams could do. I think he's going to bring, you know, safety back to New York City, which I think is the #1 piece that every New Yorker is looking for. But I think he's a man with a real heart, and I think he's going to bring something new to the city in regards to change.
You know, and at the state, the governor, as I indicated, was here last night. There's 97 state agencies and authorities, and she comes from a business background with her parents being business owners, and she saw firsthand of how difficult it is for a small business to do business. And so she has a vision that's going to be executed by ESD, Hope Knight and her very, very capable staff, up to Val and his staff. And so there is a great optimism that there's going to be a focus on results and not being blinded by problems, but focusing on solutions. And I'm very happy to be part of that team and driving our results and driving those various initiatives.
Yeah, no, I think the governor's leading in the right direction. I think her bringing on the Lieutenant Governor, Brian Benjamin, too, was a very strategic and smart move. Brian coming from Harlem and understanding the importance of, you know, minority support. I think the New York State is it's going in the right direction.
Exactly, the great Empire State. And yes, Brian Benjamin is an ex-business owner as well.
Yeah.
And so having someone who influences and ensuring that there's resources and that there's a focus is a great thing, and it's going to make our day-to-day duties and responsibilities great. And so it was announced last night that the Great Empire State, under the effective leadership of ESD, had a record year. And that year is that more than $3 billion in payments were made to New York State certified firms. Even during a pandemic, there was a focus on making sure that our certified MWBEs had what they need: the access, the training, the access to capital. DASNY has just unveiled a very unique concept for allowing certified firms to access capital and surety bonding.
That's correct.
And so this great state that we are in right now has a focus on solutions and not being blinded by problems. So fasten your seatbelts. Great things are about to happen this year and next year as we gear up towards 2022. And so any last comments that you want to state?
Yeah, just want to say, Michael, thank you. You know, your department, your team, everything that you've done for not just for companies like Century, but for everybody. You've been helping for the last, 14, 15 years as you've been managing this, probably even longer. So, thank you for everything you've done in Empire State and the focus that, that New York has had in regards to helping small businesses, minority-owned businesses like me.
Thank you, and the mere fact that we have had the opportunity to award such a sizable contract to a qualified firm like yours for the first time in history is a testament of the great leadership of the governor. Yes. and her very able and capable team of driving results. Yes. And once again, we are gratified that in the year 2022, great things are going to happen. Yes. I've heard someone say before that there's people in rooms that's calling your name that you don't even know about, that's going to lead to opportunities. Nice. And so the name Century, I'm quite sure, is being talked about in rooms all across the city and the state of New York. That's going to lead to additional opportunities for a great company like yours.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, Michael.